Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
I am that dude, Bodkins. Patty to patty. It's ridiculous. No way. There's nobody else out there. He's your guy. Give a big round of applause for the one and only Bodkin Show. I'm going to repeat that again, folks. I didn't stutter. Welcome to the Bodkins Show.
I don't know if it's playing the. It's good evening, everybody. Welcome to another great LTS or Bodkin Show. Jesus, I don't know what show we're on anymore. Welcome to the Bodkin Show. This is our week 5 reaction show, wrap-up show, whatever you want to call it. Man, it's another crazy NFL Sunday. Man, the Texans lose a heartbreaker. Dolphins, I mean, they looked good. Bills lose a stinker in New England. If you missed it this morning's show, please check that out on the LTS. We talked a lot about that game as it was happening live. But nonetheless, we'll be breaking down all the games in the back half. We'll always give out our dogs and turds of the week. A lot of dogs could be said, a lot of turds to be said as well. So Pittsburgh wins a wild one in a comeback victory in a game that they had to have. Houston loses a heartbreaker. Their defense gives up some points there. Desmond Ridder looked pretty comfortable. Speaking of comfortable, Nathaniel Hackett, maybe it wasn't his fault, right? Nathaniel Hackett revenge game. Zach Wilson looked pretty decent, did throw a bad interception on a 50-50 ball, but his defense bailed him out. Jets get the win, so there's that. But let's go ahead. We'll bring in a guy who, this guy lived through all the glory years from 2001 to, a couple, even really 2 years ago, they were in the playoffs. There is no playoffs in sight. Bill Belichick has now lost back-to-back 30-point games, the 2 worst losses of his career. I think they're the last 8 quarters, they've been outscored like 40-something to 3. Sorry, 60-something to 3, actually. So to explain it all, what the hell's going on in the state of New England is none other than our own Hall of Famer, Scott Cope.
I forgot my hoodie,
Scott.
Nick. I forgot my hoodie. My cut-off sleeves. It's awful. It really is. I watched that game today. I don't know why, from start to finish. They were getting booed mercilessly off the field. Mac Jones is done as a Patriots quarterback, starting quarterback. It's unfortunate, but it's true.
It seems like even though he was taken out in that game again today, man, it's a hard. They said they're going to go back to him. He said, well, it was just the score. Well, shit, man, you need to replace everybody if it's the fucking score, Bill, because the whole roster needs to be replaced. The roster that you built together, because teams are it's been almost 20 years that they've been ruling the route, the East and the AFC, and teams are getting their payback. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, and you had 2 more pass catches go down today. The rookie Demario Douglas went down today, and Juju, who got up and was wobbling around like a drunk sailor, was stumbling around like a drunk sailor. So his history, his concussion history, he's done for 2 or 3 games, I think. So Devontae Parker and Kendrick Bourne are it with Hunter Henry, and they're going to Raiders next week. Good luck, New England. I don't know if you can beat the Raiders right now. So it is what it is. You play at the top of the NFL for decades, and now the fall has come hard, and Bill Belichick's – we all got to be wondering if Bill Belichick is going to lose both his jobs at the end of the year, because it's highly possible.
I'm going to go ahead and bring in Johnny, and then we'll kind of continue this discussion, because Johnny, he's seen his fair share of Patriots see dynasty and heartbreak as they killed the Dolphins every year in and year out. But now the Dolphins are getting that last, the laugh now, as the Dolphins look to be, one of the cream of the crops of the AFC.
Yep.
But I want to stay on this Patriots talk with you. Scott, are they the worst team in the are they the worst team in the league? Because the last 2 games now, Carolina, they might be the worst team, but to me, the Patriots, they got to be one of the top 5 worst teams in the league.
it is close between the Patriots and Carolina right now. I mean, you just look at it for what it is. Their defense is not good anymore. They don't lock down teams. Their offense is not good. They don't have a quarterback that can go through his reads and throw it to the right place. Belichick, just the GM, has just sabotaged this team. And my home league, I put it out there that Belichick is a majority of the reason why. And they said, no, it's the offensive line. Well, who put those guys on the field to play? Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
He's got to take the blame for this. He can't be saying, oh, we weren't good enough. No, you made sure you weren't good enough. So they're looking at a top 5 to 7 pick in the NFL draft. I saw 3 winnable games the rest of the year on this schedule. I looked at it. Raiders, Giants, Jets. And
the Jets game the Jets are improving the last 2 weeks. They won today. I mean, Zach Wilson looks like competent quarterback. You know what I mean?
And Breece Hall ran the ball like a man today.
Yeah.
It's just, and I'm saying it's a winnable game because of the history of the Jets Patriots, but that's the end of the year. That's the last game of the year for the Jets Patriots.
They got them twice, though, right? They already beat them once, right?
They did beat them once, but
that's their
own now.
Game.
I will say this: the Jets are a different team from 2 weeks ago. Zach Wilson's more confident. Breece Hall has had the bubble wrap taken off of them now. They're a different team right now. And they're gonna be better. They we'll get into the Jets later, but they won in Denver today. And that's something that you wouldn't have said 2 weeks ago they could do. So they're a team to watch as the season goes on here. They're gaining more and more confidence as a team. So
and they're gaining more confidence in Zach, and he's gaining stuff in himself. Johnny, is it time for Caleb Williams? Is it going to be Caleb Williams in a Patriot uniform, or maybe Shedeur Sanders or Drake May or Phoenix or somebody like that?
I mean, I think they have to take somebody. If they got a top 5 pick, I think they have no choice but to take a quarterback, considering the situation that they're in right now.
Does Bill do that though? I mean, that's the question. Does Bill is not? Does he do that?
He would probably want to trade back and get more picks because it's not just. They need a lot of pieces there, but again, you're saying he's been the one drafting, all these years, and they haven't exactly worked out with all the draft picks. But I think in his mind, he would probably want to trade back and get some more picks. But if there's somebody there that they really like, then I think they would go for it. It's sad that we're talking about the Patriots in the same breath as Carolina. Carolina at least has the excuse of having a rookie quarterback. The Patriots don't have that excuse. I thought the defense would be better. I know they got some injuries, some big injuries, because Judon is a big injury. And then Jones, I believe it is, right? That the corner.
Gonzalez is hurt.
Oh, Gonzalez is hurt. So, you got your stud corner, first-round pick corner, and then, a defensive player of the year candidate out of your defense. So I understand that. But the offense is just that's just ugly. That's just bad play right there.
Let me ask you guys this. To me, he has forgotten who the quarterback is. I feel like he still thinks it's Tom back there, and Mac can be Tom. And we don't have to go out and get all this old all-world talent that we, they've never really had all-world talent outside of the Randy Moss and Wes Welker years, right? Julian Edelman was capable, but he's not lighting the world on fire. You know what I mean? Scott, You've listed off all these receivers that they've had. They've never, they did have Gronk, obviously, who's a Hall of Fame tight end, but maybe he still thinks that they can do this, just buy a bunch of Jags, right? Just another guys and win. But they can't win that in this league, not with Mac Jones. Mac Jones I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback, but by God, what playmaker does he fucking have? Name one.
He doesn't.
I
said in my home league text today, it was as I was, bemoaning Belichick. That quarterback needs San Francisco level talent. He cannot raise the talent around him. I'm not saying to get Debo and Ayuk and all that stuff, but what I'm saying is if you don't have the really good wide receivers and you have a really like Ramondre, he's just not being used the right way. And that's Bill Belichick's fault. But if you need to have that talent around you, because Mac Jones has proven in his 3 years as an NFL quarterback that he cannot raise the level of his talent around him. There's no talent around him. And you know, a lot of the reason why he looks like he is because he doesn't have the Randy Mosses, so to speak, and the Wes Welkers and the Julian Edelmans and all those guys. He's just got a bunch of stiffs playing football around him, and that's what it is. And it's a bunch of stiffs. I mean, Kendrick Bourne really is.
He doesn't even have. I mean, he doesn't even have an Adam Thielen. You know what I mean? Like Adam Thielen's not a top 10 wide receiver, but I mean, this year he's proven capable for Bryce Young and rejuvenalized. But he doesn't even have a guy like that. You know, like.
And here's a question to you guys: the wide receiver free agency crop coming up is really, really good. Do we have any confidence the Patriots are going to sign at least one of them? A Mike Evans or anybody like that?
Does any of them want to go to New England? You know what I mean? Right. Like what people were taking, you know, deals, you know, at that time, Randy, Ocho Cinco went there, even, you know, Antonio Brown, like they were taking like cut money, right? Because they thought they could win a championship with Tom Brady. You know, and none of those guys really ended up working out a whole lot. Let me ask you this. Craig makes a good point, and you know, Boston related. Would Bill kind of do the Theo Epstein and step down as general manager before New England makes their next rebuild and next QB? Would he step down as GM or the coach, Scott?
He's too old. He can't go through a rebuild. He will not go through a full rebuild. He's too old.
But they're already going through one. They've done it the wrong way, so now they have to re-scrap all the plans and restart it up again. I don't think he wants to stick around for that. I really don't. I think Kraft and we're going to have a meeting at the end of the year, and this is what the meeting's going to be. Bill, do you want me to fire you or do you want to resign? It's up to you. And I think that's the way it's going to be, because I don't think he's at the point now where he's even going to come close to breaking Shula's record. He's going to have to go someplace else where the talent is really good to do it, because he's just not good enough.
I mean, he'll get that opportunity too if he wants to do it. Because I'm sure there's half the league would like to have Bill Belichick, especially if they got any kind of talent on their roster. But I mean, it's crazy that we're talking that way about Bill Belichick, considering, like I said, what the last 20 years have been for the Patriots. But I think it started off a couple of years ago when they had all that free agency money and they went with the 2 tight ends, and it's just like they didn't try to like bring in no star players. You know what I'm saying? They spent a lot of money on just guys like Nick was saying, and then you have you got a young quarterback. You did the stupid shit last year with the 2 co-coordinators that weren't even offensive guys. So it's just bad step after bad step. And then as far as your crop of receivers, you go and get a Devontae Parker that the Dolphins didn't even want anymore. You get Juju, and then you get Mike Gesicki. So like there's no playmaker. You know what I'm saying? Those are just bodies. None of those guys are like, top tier players that could actually help your young quarterback. And then you mentioned that they're not using Ramondre, the right way. I mean, I know you say that's Bill Belichick, but isn't that Bill O'Brien? You know what I'm saying? That we were all giving them props for getting Bill O'Brien. We thought he'd help out Mac
Their
Jones.
offense is worse, Johnny. It's worse with Bill O'Brien this year than it was.
Crazy.
It was with 2 guys.
That's what I'm saying. So it can't be. I mean, that can't be on Bill Belichick. That's on the offensive coordinator. If he's not using
Bill runs the show. You know what I mean? He's still. Right.
I get it.
Sorry, Johnny. Andy makes a good point here too, Scott. Like we just said, we think that teams will go out and want to Bill Belichick. But will they? Because it's been proven right now with Tom Brady. Andy's a big Bears fan. He says he wouldn't want him as for the Bears. He would like a younger offensive coach. I think it would have to be a team that is on the go, ready to win now, and just maybe needs the coaching over the put. But what team is that? Like right now, if there's a team that you said they clean the slate, this is the perfect Bill Belichick type team. That needs a coach to get over the hump. I don't know what team that is. Like the Colts, right? When they brought in Tony Dungy, They needed that extra, or even John Gruden, right? I guess that would be more a correlation. They couldn't get it done. The Bucs couldn't get it done with Tony. They went out and got John Gruden, and John Gruden took him to the promised land.
Johnny will be on with the guy later tonight that if Bill Belichick became a free agent coach, he would die. He would kill to get him, and that's the Chargers. They have Eckler. If they signed Eckler, and they have Keenan Allen, and they have Justin Herbert, and Bill Belichick could work with the defense. I know it's Kansas City's in that division. I get that, but they're probably a coach away from making a major impact in the AFC playoffs. So that would be the only team off the top of my head that I could possibly think of that Belichick could go to, break the record, and possibly have that team in the playoff mix and a Super Bowl run in them. That's it.
That's a great call right there, actually.
Yeah,
the Chargers. Yeah.
Chargers. Yeah. That's to me that's about it, right? Like, I mean, every other team is. I don't think Denver. I mean, not that they're firing Sean Payton this year, but it's not been.
If Cincinnati continues, I know Cincinnati got a big win today, but if Cincinnati winds up 6-11, you think there's any chance they get rid of?
I think they like Zach Taylor. He took them to a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and they'll blame it on the Joe Burrow calf, right? Like, hey, we just got Joe was banged up, and
I think, and I also think what the Pittsburgh win did today for Cincinnati is bring them right back into the division again.
Yeah.
Brings them all back.
Everybody's bunched up again, right? They're 2-3. They're only a game back. Yeah. Yep. Everybody else is 3-2. You're 2-3. I think the Browns were on a bye this week, so they're 2-2.
That would be another team that if they fail to make the playoffs, would they get rid of Stefanski and would Belichick go back to Cleveland and coach the Browns again?
Where it all started for him.
They got the defense. They got the defense.
Yeah,
that would be something.
Yeah,
they do. And they got the receivers with Cooper and Peoples-Jones, and the Joko showed up a couple weeks ago. So that would be another destination that could possibly welcome
Deshaun. It'd be interesting with Bill and Deshaun. I don't know how Bill would take it if somebody said he's not fucking playing. You know what I mean? So I know Bobby said on Thursday that was kind of taken out of context, but I just don't know. And I don't know if it's weird because it's that Patriots style, and this is kind of close out on this Patriots talk here. But when other coaches try to go do that someplace else, it never works, right? So I guess because he's proven and he is the key guy, would this Patriot way go work on somebody else?
Well, considering the Browns' history, why not go with saying something that has worked? Granted, it hasn't worked lately, but if you're partnering up one of the best defensive minds with this type of offensive team that they have there and that talent, if you want a chance to win, you would think that they would listen to Bill Belichick. But I hear you on the whole Bill Belichick not wanting to hear somebody saying that they're not playing, they don't feel like playing. That would be I'm with Alan there, man. That would be interesting if he went back to Cleveland now.
Bobby, I'm still watching, but if you put in the comments what you think if Bill back to Cleveland, I'd like to hear what you're saying. What you think, Bobby?
Yeah, what I think is that Belichick goes any place. He's not the GM. He's not in charge of personnel. He's just
can't be. Yeah, he can't be.
That's it.
So, maybe the game has passed him by. It's possible. Like I firmly believe that he still thinks that he can get it done nickel and diamond with a bunch of just guys that he did with Tom Brady's whole career, damn near outside of Gronk and one or two others, But
as far as the Cleveland situation, you'd be partnering him with a top 10 quarterback. I know Deshaun still needs to get back to form, but he has all the ability in the world. So if he can get his mind right and actually get back on the field and actually feel like playing, I guess.
Yes.
He's uber talented, and again, there's a lot of skill players on that offense there. So that's an interesting one there. But I like the Chargers one too.
Yeah, I do too. I like the Chargers probably more than the Browns. Scott, let me ask you this. Just it popped in my brain as they're getting ready to go off. The 49ers were close to taking Mac Jones. And went with Trey Lance. Had they taken Mac Jones, would Mac Jones? He's just as good as Brock Purdy with all that talent around him, right? Mac could be just as good with Brock Purdy. Just New England has no damn talent.
That's the whole key. is he has talent around him. Mac Jones cannot raise talent up. He has to have talent around him because for whatever reason, he's not the quarterback that I thought he was coming out of Alabama. He holds.
I mean,
the
he played
ball
at
way too
Alabama.
long.
He's playing with top 5 guys every. You know what I mean? Guys who are playing on Sunday every day, and they're not playing against every. You know what I mean? Top 5 guys every week.
Right, and that's the whole thing. Is as I said before, his talent around him has to be really good. He has to have an elite number 1 wide receiver. He has to have a solid number 2, and he's got to have a running game in back of him that's going to be a difference. And right now, he has none of that, and he's being exposed. And I also think all the Bill Belichick drama this offseason has really gotten to him, has really messed with his head. So I think he's either going to be traded in the offseason someplace, or because the Patriots are going to sign a quarterback or draft a quarterback, or they're just going to stick it out with Mac for one more year and then let him go after his last year of his rookie deal is up. That's what's going to happen. So
I could see
if Bill stayed in New England, let's say he didn't fire. Sorry, Nick. If he didn't, would he? Who would they sign? Like a Kirk Cousins?
that's what you'd be looking at. Kirk Cousins drafting either Bo Nix or Michael Penix off the draft if they're picking like 7th or 8th.
Right.
I can't see him getting a 1 or 2 for Caleb Williams unless they do something unthinkable, which is trade up the number 1 with Chicago, because it looks like Carolina's on that collision course to be the number 1 draft pick, which now is Chicago's. So that would be the only way that they could get to 1 and you know how Belichick is when he trades. He doesn't want to give anything up. He wants people to give him something instead of him giving something. It doesn't work like that, buddy. You got to give something.
That's how I negotiate fantasy trades. That's how I negotiate fantasy trades. You know,
I'll give you Chase Claypool for Christian McCaffrey. Deal.
Exactly. Hey, somebody said, "Hey, I was trying to trade Johan Dotson, and they're like, I thought you said he wasn't very good." And I was like, he's not good on my team, but he's good for your team. He's not good for my team, but he's good for your team. He look good on your team.
He would look good on your 4-0 team. On my 2-2 team, he looks terrible. So
yeah, looks terrible.
Give me McCaffrey. McCaffrey looks too good for your team, and that's what I want.
Yeah.
So
he looks good. He looks good on my team, but for your team, god damn it, he looks great for your team.
Bobby answered, yeah.
Yeah, Bobby G did respond. He said only if they could keep the rest of the staff intact. He would like, he said I think he'd work well with Shorts. Yeah, because Jim Shorts is a guy, and wouldn't mind seeing AVP get a shot at the L coordinator. So
they were in Cleveland together. Schwartz when Belichick was in Cleveland, he was the defensive guy. So
they got ties together.
They got ties together. Yeah. So
yeah.
Do you think Bill would take something like that though, where he would have where they would kind of nudge him into keeping some of the staff there?
Here's my question: with that? How bad does he want to break Schuler's record?
He wants to break it bad.
My question. We talked about it. Now I'm sure he wants to break it really bad. So if he does, because that's all he's going to get when he get if Kraft lets him go or he walks away, the only office he's going to get is head coach. They're going to look at his track record as personnel guy and say, no, we got a guy in place that we want him. Bill, you're worried about coaching the team and coaching the defense. If we don't have a coordinator, that's good enough. So he won't get an offer.
In the words of Bill Parcells, he's no longer allowed to buy the groceries.
Right. No, I don't think. I think he would do that if he wants to break Schuler's record. If he,
I'm talking about his coaching staff, though. You think he'd be okay with having to take on coaches that?
I think if he went to Cleveland, Schwartz would stay. The offensive Stefanski's in essence the offensive coordinator in Cleveland. I think I don't know if Bobby G would agree with that, but there's another offensive coordinator name, but it's Stefanski. Stefanski calls the plays, obviously. So So I think he would offensive coordinator. He's going to look at one of his old boys, and the problem is he'd want to bring his sons in again, and that's to me that's a no-go. Your son's not part of the deal. It's only you, Bill. I'm not taking your sons on. I'm not doing.
You don't want.
You wouldn't even let him be like linebackers coach or nothing. No.
I wouldn't because what did
every
his
time
son
they go to
do?
every time they go to Belichick's son. What's his son's name? The one always out in the sideline. Just
Steven. Yeah. Oh, look at those lines. Those are cocaine lines.
Yeah. Steve, hey. Let's get into today's games, folks. We talked a little bit this morning about the stink fest that was the Jags versus the Bills. Me and Scott, I know, picked the Jags because we thought it was key for them to stay, in New England, but in England, in London. Even their players said they felt great going into the game due to the fact that they stayed an extra week. And the Bills came in on Thursday. We all hated that. And the game was 25-20. Jags win, Bills lose. This is I said this was a typical Bills trap game on Thursday, and by God, it was, right? Like going across London, you're coming off the highs of beating the brakes off of Miami, and then you fall back down to earth. Trevor Lawrence, 25 of 37, 315 yards, 1 touchdown. Travis Etienne had himself a day, 26 carries, 136 yards, 2 touchdowns. Calvin Ridley, 7 receptions, 122 yards. Zay Jones had 3 for 23 in the touchdown. You get to the Bills. Josh Allen, 359 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He ran for a touchdown. They didn't run the ball at all, and I think it's because they got down. They were down in that game. It was like 11-0 for the longest time. Stephon Diggs, 8 receptions, 121 yards, 1 touchdown. Gabe Davis, 6 receptions, 100 yards, and a touchdown. More importantly, though, for the Bills, Matt Milano is out for the year, it looks like. So is a broken leg, I believe. So, this is both y'all's. The Bills losing now 3-2. Jags win 3-2. So, Johnny, what's your thoughts on this London game? That was very underwhelming, as we talked to this morning already.
Yeah, I think the big note from it is what you just said there at the end is the Matt Milano injury. I was right there with you as far as Buffalo having to travel, and Jacksonville already staying there. That's why I picked Jacksonville to win the game in our picks. Josh Allen played well. I hear what you're saying as far as them being down the whole time for them but still for James Cook to only have 5 carries, Murray to only have 2 carries, like it wasn't that much of a deficit where they had to completely abandon the run, and I think they
when
did.
The Bills are humming, they're you know what I mean? It's not going to be 50-50, but it's right. 60-40, you know what I mean?
Right.
60 pass, 40 run, and today it's when they get in trouble is when they just start slinging it all over the field.
I completely agree with that. You know what I'm saying? It was a bit of a sloppy game, but Jacksonville did what they needed to. They needed this win, Jacksonville, especially after losing us last week to Atlanta. So that they're 3-2 and right in the mix there for their division. But it's another London game. Like we said this morning, I like the 9:30 starts. I like waking up to football in the morning, but it's usually not a very good, well-played game. Some of them can get a little entertaining, towards the end if it's a close game, but for the most part, it tends to look sloppy. But I'll take it as an AFC East fan. I'll take the Bills taking an L. You never want to see somebody get hurt like that, but that's a big loss. Their leader on the defense, the middle linebacker, he's a Pro Bowl, All-Pro type player. And that's a pretty bad injury. It's not only a broken leg, they said that he might have torn his ACL as well. So talk about adding insult to injury, breaks his leg, and he might have tore his knee as well. So it sucks. It sucks for them. Daquan Smith, I think, went out with an injury too, the defensive tackle. It was a bad day all around for Buffalo.
Yeah, the Bills defense the last 2 years have been shredded with injuries. Last week White goes out, now Milanos goes out. Last year they missed Micah Hyde, Poirier, and Von Miller all went out. Von Miller finally worked his way back in, got some snaps in today. Scott, you got any thoughts here on the Jags-Bills game?
Yeah, I think this sets up great for the Dolphins now for the division. It really does. You can't sustain 2 major injuries on your defensive side in Tre'Davious White and Matt Milano and think your defense is going to be the same as it was before, because it's not. It's not. You're going to backups now and rotational guys. So, as we'll get to with the Dolphins, this really sets up really well for them in terms of winning the division, which is great for them. They're a really good team, and Buffalo. Playoffs in jeopardy right now? Not yet, but I think another loss or two in the next week or two, and you could be saying that. So that's what.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long way to go. I mean, one week you look like the best team in the league, and then you go to London and lose to the Jags. You know what I mean? It's just up and down right now. But I mean, last week we were saying the Bills look like the best team, and they'll bounce back. I firmly do. But this is a game like we talked this morning. I said this is a game Jags got to win. Like this is a game that they got to win. Because everybody in their division is hanging in there, so they're not running away with it yet. Let's get in. We kind of talked enough about the Patriots Saints game, so we don't really need anything else. I just want to get to the Saints stats. Derek Carr 183 for 2 touchdowns. Alvin Kamara 80 yards, 1 touchdown, became the all-time Saints leader in touchdowns. With that lone touchdown as well. Michael Thomas 4 for 65. Chris Olave 2 for 12 and a touchdown. I feel like he needs to get the damn ball more of Derek Carr, but there's no real reason to get any more into that game. We kind of talked about all the problems with the Patriots. Unless you got anything.
Yeah, I will say this. When we get off the show this morning, I checked my Twitter. Ian Rappaport said that Olave sprained his ankle in pregame warmups. So that is maybe why you didn't see the best of Olave today because of that. So keep that in mind going forward, that Olave – I don't know if it's a high ankle sprain but he was really playing hurt out there today. So kudos to him for gearing it up. Didn't get shot up or anything. Gearing it up and going out there and playing on a sprained ankle. So
yeah. Let's get into our buddy Sam's game. Titans lose to the Colts 60-23. Anthony Richardson. Can this guy finish a game? He hurt his shoulder. Minshew comes in. He hasn't finished the game yet. Richardson has. He's been taken out at least one point and brought either taken back in. It looks like X-rays were negative on Richardson, but kid's going to get killed out there. For the Titans, it was just when Tannehill plays well, they do well, and Derrick Henry, of course. Neither one of those guys had a game today. Tannehill 20-34, an interception. Derrick Henry, where were you? He was on the milk carton, 13 carries for 43 yards. DeAndre Hopkins had his best game as a Titan, 8 receptions for 140 yards. And then we get into the Colts. Gardner Minshew, came off the bench in relief, 11-14, 155 yards. Anthony Richardson was 9-12 for 98. But by God, let me ask you guys this after I'm going to finish just reading the stats, and then I'll ask, should they have traded Jonathan Taylor? Because Zach Moss looks like a dude out here in Indy. 23 carries, 165 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor in his own lone game back, only 6 for 18. Josh Downs, 6 receptions, 97 yards. Michael Pittman, 5 receptions for 52 yards. I also recommend getting Josh Downs. It's about the third week in a row. He's had about 5 receptions or more. So you might be looking at trying to get him in some fantasy. But, Scott, let me ask you first, should they have tried to sign Jonathan Taylor to this contract? Because the last 2 weeks, Zach Moss has proved he's very capable and then some.
They said on CBS at halftime today, the Patriots game, Zach Moss looked like a guy who got paid. And Jonathan Taylor did not. So,
yeah.
Zach Moss is basically, he's never done this, sustained this over his season after season. He's done it in spurts. So I would have to see it the rest of the year, and I don't think you're going to, because I think this could have been the last game he got major work. I think Jonathan Taylor was just eased back in today, and I think Zach Moss was the guy, the man for them in the backfield. I think going forward, Jonathan Taylor is going to get more and more run, which means the Zach Moss, train, hype train is just going to drop and drop and drop. So I would beware of that if you're in fantasy. But do they trade Zach Moss now for a nice piece if they're in a playoff run? Possibly. And I agree with you on Anthony Richardson. He can't finish a game. He can't. He's going to be out for 2 to 4 weeks now, I bet, his shoulder. I don't think he's coming back anytime soon. So it's got to be a cash guy.
And we talked about Richardson this morning on the pregame show. Like, that was my one worry about him, because, he's got, great athleticism. He's got a cannon for an arm. It's just a matter of him not taking unnecessary hits, but they're calling run plays for him, and he doesn't know how to just get down and not take a big hit. You know what I'm saying? So he wound up, no concussion, thankfully, today, but he wound up landing on his shoulder. So they're going to have to try to figure something out. I know you want to use his legs because he's a great athlete, but if you want him to last, you're gonna have to develop him as in the pocket to be able to pass the ball.
Yeah, and I will say this on our group chat today that we had. Sam said that Derrick Henry was not going through the right hole in the offensive line. They were creating some holes, and his decision making was terrible. And I said my response to him is that's why I can't take the Titans seriously, is because they're too inconsistent on offense and defense. And he agreed. Yeah, they're too inconsistent right now. So
AR reminds me of RG3. Like, just very not just guy when he's on the field, he's electric. But, man, you don't know if he can survive it to be on the field. And we saw RG3 had this great rookie year. I think he was rookie of the year his rookie year.
Yeah,
he was. Andrew Luck was right there. Russ Wilson had a great year that year as well. So, like, those three guys. And, RG3 was out of the league sooner than they were because of injuries and everything else. Like, AR kind of reminds me of a similar situation, like just electric when he's on there. But, man, like, you're just waiting for him to take a hit, and then here comes, Gardner Minshew's got to be in the bullpen ready to go at all times.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, at least they were smart enough to get themselves a good serviceable backup.
Right? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, good for them on that one there.
The smartest free agent signing that Indianapolis or any team ever did was Gardner Minshew, because Shane Steichen knew that maybe AR wouldn't start the season or would get injured at something. So great signing by the Colts, great signing by Chris Ball and Shane Steichen to bring Minshew in. So
yeah, he knows the offense, and they're I think obviously through the passing game, Minshew is very can handle his own and is better when he's out there. But man, you just don't like. I hope AR comes back. I think he's going to do well. But man, right now it's Minshew mania and Moss mania in Indy, and these two guys that they were hoping to build, and Taylor and Richardson, maybe not so much. But I mean, they signed Taylor to that contract. They're going to give him the damn ball. It's just one game. Yeah. But Zach Moss, man, kudos to him. He had himself a 2-3 game stretch where he proved like, I don't know if he's a free agent at the end of this year. I mean, he probably is. And if he is, like, if you're a team, like, hey, this guy has proved that he can be serviceable, and we might want to bring in Zach Moss as our leading runner.
I know
absolutely.
Go ahead, Johnny.
Good, John.
Well, you had mentioned that he never sustained this for an entire season. He was up in Buffalo where they don't like to run the ball that much.
Yeah, he never had.
It's not like he really got the opportunity. So I mean, I like Zach Moss. You know what I'm saying? I think he's a good player. Again, it would be smart for them. They're 3-2, man. Like, they actually have an opportunity to win this division. I don't think you trade him. I think you keep him, and you have a two-headed monster there. Because you're still gonna want to ease Jonathan Taylor into it, especially you paid him all that money, but you don't want to like wear him out right away. So it's gonna take some time for him to get into shape. So I would keep both of them. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I understand trading him, but what are you really gonna get for Zach Moss, and who's going to trade for? I mean, we saw all these running backs that were available, and nobody wanted to pay them. Nobody wanted to trade for them. So that's right. I don't know what they would get for him. If I'm the Colts, I'm keeping him, and try to make sure that we're running the ball as much as possible, especially with a quarterback that can't make it through an entire game.
Yeah,
you have to. NFL has become a committee backfield.
Yeah,
you have to keep him. You have to keep him.
Yeah. Let's get into the next game. This game. This is the Steelers. I picked the Steelers. I thought Baltimore money line, but I love the Steelers with the +4.5. Steelers covered and then some. They win 17-10. This game was it was like 10-5 most of the damn game. Actually, it was 10-3. I take that back most of the game. And then the Steelers scored 14 unanswered points in the fourth quarter. Lamar throws an interception late in the game in the end zone. They had a fumble, a blocked punt, I believe it was, the Steelers did, that they got a safety, almost was a touchdown. Steelers, somehow win this damn game, go to 3-2. Baltimore falls to 3-2. Lamar went 236 yards, one interception. Gus Edwards, 12 carries for 48 yards. Zay Flowers, 4 for 73. Odell got hurt again. And then we get to the Steelers. Kenny Pickett, 18 of 32, 224 yards, 1 touchdown. Jaylen Warren, nine carries for 40 yards. Najee, 14 for 37. Maybe should give it to Jaylen Warren a little bit more. It seems like the numbers are a little skewed there. George Pickens had himself a game, folks. 6 receptions.
About time.
1 touchdown. Yeah. Well, with no Muth, no Deontay. But the Steelers defense, they had a couple sacks, couple fumbles. This team prevailed in a wild comeback win for Kenny Pickett to Pickens for the late touchdown win. Johnny, what's your thoughts here on the black and blue game?
Well, I got to go ahead and start it off with my apologies to Mike Tomlin and actually making the comment that this might be his first losing season. My bad. Apologies. No disrespect on that one, but Baltimore just looked like the better team. I should have known better being a divisional game like this, but I mean, Baltimore had every opportunity to win this freaking game, man. You know what I'm saying? They could have taken a nice stranglehold of this division. Now, like you mentioned, Scott, they opened the door for Cincinnati to possibly make a run now. You lost a divisional game, to Pittsburgh here. So Pittsburgh's just going to get some more momentum now. Kenny Pickett finally realized, oh, shit, that's right. George Pickens is a good player. Let me throw him the damn ball. So it's going to be interesting to see. That defense is always ready to play. TJ Watt is a dude. You know what I'm saying? So that defense is always going to play well. And then, you mentioned it, Lamar with that bad interception late in the game. It's one of those, black and blue, type games like you mentioned. It was a lot of fun. It was weird to see because, you know what I'm saying, you want to see something happen. Like I said, I thought Baltimore was going to wind up not running away with it because it's always close games, but I thought Baltimore pretty much had it locked in. And then, Pittsburgh did what they had to do there at the end and made enough plays that they needed to win the game. So apologies, Mr. Mike Tomlin. I will never doubt you again, bro.
Joey Porter with the game-saving interception too. So shout out to Joey Porter Jr. Scott, any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I saw this on Twitter too. When the touchdown pass was thrown to Pickens, it was an audible. Matt Canada was on the sideline pissed off because he called an audible. He can't take the credit for the win.
That can't be true. That can't be true.
There is video.
Really?
I saw the video of when Pickens scored the touchdown. Everybody in the box is like cheering, and then you just see Matt Canada.
Yep. He can't take credit for the win. It's all Kenny Pickett and George Pickens. So
yeah, well, it was one-on-one on the outside, so good audible for Kenny. Like you got, if it's George Pickens on the outside, you got to get it. Like it's like Randy Moss, one-on-one on the outside. And I'm not saying it's Randy Moss by no means, but somebody
he's a dude. He's a dude.
Yeah, one-on-one on the outside. You go, hey, we're audibling. I don't give a shit what the fucking play is. My best guy against their best guy. I believe in my best guy every time.
Absolutely, and props to Kenny Pickett. You know what I'm saying? If that's the case, you know what I'm saying, for manning up there and making the decision himself to go with a different play. If that's the type of mentality that the OC has, then you know what I'm saying, I don't know how much longer he's gonna make it past this season. I mean, obviously depending on how the rest of the season goes, but you know what I'm saying, you can't be upset that your quarterback made an audible that wound up winning the game. Like that's just, I don't know, man.
This division, this AFC North, wide open right now. Wide open.
Yeah. Well, we said it was before. We said before that the season started. If there's one division where you could put them in a crapshoot 1 through 4, and they could all, however they lie, that's how they lie. Like, and you could be like, yeah, you could make a case for everybody in this division finish first to last, and then right now for the first 5 weeks, that's exactly what it's been.
No doubt,
absolutely,
no doubt.
Let's get into the fucking Detroit Lions are for real, folks. I mean, Scott, we said like, hey, if there's a game that they probably, can't cover, it was going to be this game. It just seems like, the old Lions would lose this game or be maybe win by 3 points. Nah, this ain't your daddy's Lions. This ain't ain't our Lions. This ain't even my son's Lions. This is fucking a brand new Lion team, and by God, they're for fucking real. I mean, for real. They beat the brakes off of Carolina, 42-24. Bryce Young, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Most of it came in garbage time. Chuba Hubbard, 9 carries for 35 yards. Adam Thielen, me and Scott told you, hey, folks, if you got Adam Thielen, you got to play him because he is balling the fuck out. 11 receptions, 107 yards, 1 touchdown. Bryce Young looks for Adam Thielen every play. He drops back the pass. He's looking for Adam Thielen. Jared Goff, 20-28, 236 yards, 3 touchdowns, only 8 incompletions for Jared Goff. David Montgomery, 19 carries, 109 yards, and a touchdown. Craig Reynolds, 7 receptions, 7 carries for 52 yards. Goff even ran for a touchdown. He snuck one in there. Scott did say Josh Reynolds, or did you say Josh Reynolds or Khalif Raymond? Josh Reynolds this morning, Scott. I think it was Khalif Raymond.
Khalif Raymond, I said, yeah.
Yeah, Khalif had 3 for 55. Yeah, Josh Reynolds, 4 for 76 yards and a touchdown. Sam Laporta, 3 for 47, 2 touchdowns. I mean, you guys, the Lions they're fucking for real.
Yes. They're the third best team in the NFC right now. Third best team in the NFC.
Second best team in the NFC.
I was about to say they may be the second best team, depending on what I'm saying.
It's very possible. Detroit, Jared Goff. I mean, no St. Brown today, no Gibbs today, and you put 42 points up on the Panthers. It's amazing. It's amazing. Dan Campbell has made such a difference in that organization. It's scary. It's scary. Yeah. They win the division going away, I think. That
it looks like it.
Yeah.
I could be happier for Dan Campbell, man.
Yeah.
He was your guys' interim coach for
He was a tight end for the Dolphins for a while. And he was the interim coach for a while. I love Dan Campbell. I know a lot of people were kind of gigging on him with the whole biting kneecaps and stuff like that, but it was all about a mentality, about toughness, and they built it in the trenches. That offensive line is one of the best in football. That defensive line, Hutchinson looks like he's gonna be a player.
Hutchinson made a fucking play today.
Yes, Johnny. That interception was
interception.
Yes.
See, if you see it, it shows why he was the number 2 overall pick. He's getting blocked. Bryce Young's getting ready to throw the ball, and Hutchinson just sticks his arm out with one fucking paw and just snags it while the guy's still blocking him. Interception, hell of a fucking play.
Yeah, and I mean, I like their mentality. I like the way they play. You mentioned the garbage time touchdowns by Bryce, because this game was not even close.
No.
So don't let that 42-24 deceive you, man. It was a total ass whipping. Jared Goff's been playing very well, like you mentioned, only 8 incompletions. Montgomery is running the rock like he wanted to do. You know what I'm saying, with Chicago last year, but they just, you know what I'm saying, they didn't run him as much as they probably should have. Probably these last couple years. So I like everything that Detroit's doing, to be quite honest, man. They're a lot of fun to watch. And like I said, I couldn't be happier for Dan Campbell, man.
Yeah, they look for real. It's a scary. It's happy, good for Detroit fans. I know they've had to sit through some, awful fucking times, but they're well on their way to me, unless something crazy happens. And good for Jared Goff. Everybody shit on Jared Goff the whole time he was in LA in the Rams. And the kid he's proven, if you believe in him and you give him the time, he's a very capable and good quarterback. Scott, any thoughts here on Detroit and Carolina?
Sorry, Hendon Hooker, you'll not be playing quarterback in the NFL anytime soon. Jared Goff he's great for that system. He's the quarterback for that they need for that system. Detroit might only lose 1 or 2 more games the rest of the year. That's a scary proposition. 14 wins, 13 wins, scary. They're scary.
I mean, it's a perfect situation with the young quarterback too, because they don't have to feel pressure to start the kid. They can just let him sit there and develop for a couple years. See how Jared Goff does the next couple of years. Right. Yeah. You see how Jared Goff does the next couple of years, and then you can make your decision. Do we want to go with this young kid, or do we want to just keep on riding with Jared Goff? So it's, like I said, everything that Detroit has done these last few years, you know what I'm saying, they're right, they're spot on, man. Like I said, one of the best offensive lines, one of the best defensive lines. If you could run the ball and you can stop the run, you could always, you know what I'm saying, You always have a chance to win games. So I like what Detroit's doing.
When they draft, dude, you're like, oh yeah, that fits their like Sam Laporta. You're like, oh yeah, that fits them. Jack Campbell, they drafted him. Like you're like, oh yeah, that fits their system. I'm looking at the Lions just the next few games. They got the Bucks coming off a bye next week. The Bucks aren't a joke. The Ravens game would be tough, I think. Then they got the Raiders, Chargers, Bears. Like they could three easily winnable games right there. Then they got the Packers again. They already beat the brakes off of us. The Saints, they should win that game. The Lions are the Bears again. Then the Broncos.
Nick, where's the Ravens game? Is it at Detroit or at Baltimore?
No, that game's in Baltimore.
That'll be a game they might lose because Goff outdoors is not the same as Goff indoors.
Yeah, so. And then they finish out the year Vikings twice and Cowboys. So, I mean, these next three games or the next two games, really, Buccaneers and Ravens, then they could just go on a fucking run.
Yep.
And until maybe they play the Cowboys or so.
They should beat the Bucs. I think they can beat the Bucs because St. Brown and Gibbs didn't play today, so they'll be well rested. They're supposed to be back next week. The Ravens game will be tough, and then as you said, they can go on a nice run here. So,
yeah,
they can be in at 10-2 quickly.
Yeah, I mean, very easily they could, And then they got, like I said, they do got the Cowboys. The second last, it's a Saturday game week, I guess 17. So, that would be a game that maybe is who's getting the 1-2 seed or the 3 seed. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like the top 3 seed.
Right. And I know you mentioned that he doesn't play as well, outdoors as he does indoors. But if you have an offensive line and a running attack, you're not asking Jared Goff to win you the game. You're asking him to not lose the game. You know what I'm saying? And if the defense is going to play the way they've been playing, they might not need Jared Goff to do a lot, man. And then, like you mentioned, if they can get a top seed, it's going to be hard with San Francisco and Philly to get the number 1 seed, but they can definitely win a division and get a home game, and then we'll see what happens after that. But shout out to the Detroit Lions, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Who would have thought we'd ever say that in our fucking lifetime? I mean, Jesus. Speaking of Jesus, I mean, I thought all week, man, I told you about the free bet. I laid it all on the Texans. And then the fucking defense blows it. CJ Stroud plays another killer game, leads that team down, game-winning touchdown. Desmond Ridder probably had his best game as a starter in this league. But Falcons win. CJ leads his team down for a game scoring touchdown. Desmond leads his team all the way back for a game-winning field goal. And it wasn't just like a long field goal. It was like, well, shit, they're in real good field goal range. They're going to make this. Atlanta wins 21-19. Atlanta goes to 3-2. Texans fall to 2-3. CJ Stroud, still a decent game. He still hasn't thrown an interception in 5 games. He was 20-35, 249 yards, 1 touchdown. Damian Pierce, 20 carries for 66 yards. Dalton Schultz, 7 receptions, 65 yards, and a touchdown. That's pretty much only notable. Tank Dell got hurt. He had a concussion in this game. So, and then Desmond Ridder, 20-37 and 329 yards and 1 touchdown. So, real great game for Desmond Ridder. Bijan, 14 carries for 46 yards. Tyler Algiero, 17 for 40. Desmond Ridder also ran for a touchdown. Kyle Pitts, welcome. 7 receptions for 87 yards. Drake London, 6 for 78. John New, 6 for 67. And Bijan had 2 for 12 and a touchdown. It seemed like they got rid of didn't run the ball as great, and they got the passing game going, Scott. I was surprised how good Desmond Ridder did in Atlanta getting the win here.
I was shocked. Desmond Ridder was playing for his NFL career today, and he performed. And that's the shocking part. Houston did a good job defensively. They weren't bad defensively. Ridder threw for 300 yards. They weren't bad defensively. They just didn't make the plays at the right time. And I think Tank Dell going out with the concussion, I think that hurt their offense a little bit. I think CJ Stroud couldn't get it to Nico Collins consistently, and I think that's the reason why they lost the game today. It's just sad. It's just too bad because Houston could have taken that division, with the 3-4 game winning streak and taken a hold of that division because those other three teams they haven't been playing that great. So, I was with you, Nick. I thought Houston would win that game easily today, and at least showed up. So.
Yeah, Alan's saying he's chiming in here. He says it's amazing what happens when you give Pitts and London the ball.
Right.
Agreed. They got some weapons, and I was glad in my big fantasy money league. Jonnu Smith gave me the most points out of my tight end position, and just in the first half, he got 6. That tied for the first 4 weeks of my tight end position, and then he went on to break the tight end for me points wise for that.
It's
position.
amazing how everybody says. For fantasy and for NFL, John Smith's the tight end in Atlanta. You got to pick him up. You got to play him. He's going to be the guy. And then he goes for two for 35 yards or whatever. I mean,
yeah.
Come on.
Well, he had 6 receptions. Jonnu had 6 today.
Yeah, Jonnu had 6 for 67.
This is John Smith in a nutshell. Kyle Pitts outplayed him today. First time all year.
Kyle Pitts. Yeah.
Welcome back to the NFL, Kyle Pitts. It's nice to see you.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I was right there with you guys. I mean, I picked Houston as well to win this game. I mean, it sucks to have lost that way, especially like you mentioned C.J. Stroud driving the team down the field to get the go-ahead touchdown. And then the defense just couldn't make the one play that they needed there at the end. Again, they Desmond Ridder remembered that Kyle Pitts was on his team and got him the ball along with London too, like Alan was mentioning. For him throwing the ball 37 times, they still ran the ball 36 times. So, I mean, it was a pretty balanced team. They didn't have as much success running the ball as they did passing the ball. But, I mean, shout out to Desmond Ridder because, he played like shit last week.
He's played like shit all year for the most part, Johnny.
Pretty much.
This game and the Green Bay game.
Right, but he balled out this game. They did what they had to do. And again, they right down the field and put them in position to kick the game-winning field goal. They handled their business. So shout out to them. I still like where the Texans sit, though. I mean, they're still 2-3. They're only a couple games behind. Indianapolis is 3-2, and
that division's wide open.
Yeah, right. So I mean, they still have it. You know what I'm saying? If they can get the stuff together and that defense can actually make a couple more plays, we'll see what happens with Tank Dell as far as the concussion. But I like CJ Stroud. I like what Houston's doing, man.
Yeah, if I'm the Texans, even though we lost, I'm encouraged by the way C.J. Stroud, he struggled a little bit in that game, but when they need him to make plays and go down the field to give us a win, he delivered. You know what I mean? So as a Texan fan, you know what? We'll get the fucking defense. Like, that's what we hired D'Amico Ryans to do is fucking handle this defense. We'll get there eventually, right? But hey, offensively, you just got to hey, even without Tank Dell, who might be our best receiver, he got hurt in that game. You still got to feel – I'd like to see him get a better offensive line and get Dameon Pierce going a little bit more. But other than that, I'm encouraged with it if I'm a Texans fan.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Let's get into Johnny's Dolphins putting an ass whooping on the Giants, 31-16. This was a get-right game for the Dolphins. Daniel Jones gets hurt in this game, but before he gets hurt, he's 14-20, 119 yards. Nothing to be noted here. Darren Waller did have 8 for 86 for them, but for the Dolphins, Tua, he did have just 2 bad interceptions, Johnny. I saw one of them in the end zone almost. 22 of 30, 308 yards. Did throw 2 touchdowns. Devon Achane, I swear all this kid does is score fucking touchdowns. 11 carries, 151 yards, 1 touchdown. Raheem Mostert, 10 carries, 65 yards, 1 touchdown. Tyreek. So funny thing is they were saying Devon Achane had like the fastest far as miles per hour play all year, and then until Tyreek got the damn ball and said, "Hey, hold up, homie. They call me the cheater for a reason." He had 8 for 181 and a touchdown. Jalen Waddle had 5 for 35 and a touchdown. Johnny, how are we feeling about your Dolphins ass whooping of the Giants here?
I mean, I hate to complain about a win. But I'm going to do it anyway. Those were 2 horrible interceptions by Tua, to be completely honest. I mean, you can't make those plays when you're in your 4th year and you want to actually compete for playoff games or for a division title or possibly a championship. Like, that interception in the end zone was horrible, bro. Like, he was triple covered. There was no way you were going to get that ball in there. Why are you even throwing the ball? And then on the same note, Mike McDaniel, Devon Ache just got you to the 3-yard line with an 8-yard gain, and then on first and second down, on from the 3-yard line, first and goal, second and goal, you're throwing the ball. Like, run the fucking ball.
Yeah, give it to Ache. Give it to Ache.
Granted, right after that interception, the next drive, all they did was run, and they went right down the field and scored. So Mike McDaniel, hopefully he's learning from these type of situations, because this game should not have even. I mean, it wasn't really close, but we should have ran the ball a lot more. And again, Tua, there's certain play, like, you can't throw that ball into the end zone like that and make the play. So again, I hate to complain about a shit in a victory, but I mean, it's the Giants. We should have stomped them out anyway. You know what I'm saying? But I wanted to see them play better. It wasn't the best game from Tua. He still had 300 yards, and he had a beautiful toss to Tyreek down the sideline. And then, yeah, like you mentioned, Achane, he does nothing but score. His speed is ridiculous. His balance is insane. He's got good vision in the whole.
You gotta love the 1-2 punch, right? Of Mostert.
Yes, and Mostert is running hard. You know what I'm saying? So I like what they're doing now. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I hope the coach learns from this and and gets a little better with his play selection. And then if Tua can just clean up that there's always those 2 or 3 throws each game that you're like, where the hell are you throwing that ball? But they did what they had to do. You know what I'm saying? Again, they turned the ball over 3 times against a bad team. You do that against a good team, you're going to get beat. So they still have some stuff to clean up. Overall, you know what I'm saying? I'm happy we got the win. We're 4-1, first place in the division. We got Carolina coming into town before we go up to Philly. So that's going to be interesting there. We got to handle our business against Carolina, and then that's going to be an interesting one when we go up to Philly in 2 weeks to see what they can do against them.
That'll be a good game. Scott, you got anything to add about the fastest team in the NFL?
I wasn't worried about this game at all. Daniel Wooden Nichols has turned into it, and he got a neck injury.
And Danny Pennies.
The hit that he took too, like, go out of bounds, bro.
Yeah,
like he tried to drop his shoulder with 2 defenders there. It's like I mean, props on being tough, but at the same time, don't be stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like,
he's had a history of neck injuries in his career. I would be surprised if he's not on the IR this week at some point with this neck injury. I just would not be surprised if he shows up if they say Daniel Jones IR, we're going to Tyrod Taylor, and he could be done for the year. The Giants, their offense is just so inept with him at quarterback. I don't know what they do here. I mean, they're in such a bad.
I mean, that offensive line is. I mean, they were missing 3 starters, and they're awful anyway. You know what I'm saying? So it's. I mean, but dude, don't take those unnecessary hits, man. But yeah, no, like I said, I'll take the win.
Let me guys worst spot to be in right now, and is it like franchise wise, not just season wise, but franchise wise going forward? Patriots, Giants, Broncos, and I'll even throw the Cardinals in there.
Broncos, bro. That's pathetic. What's happening in Denver right now, bro? Like talk about turds. There's a bunch of turds.
They're in the worst state, you think? I think the Giants are bad, but the Broncos have no picks, right? Like they sold all their picks for Russ.
That's what I'm saying.
Then they sold more picks later down the road for Sean Payton. So they can't even go out and recuperate and get better. Like, at least the Patriots, like, maybe Mac Jones isn't the guy and they decide to trade and they can get some picks for him, or they'll have a top 5 pick, but Carolina.
The Patriots have the most cap room in free agency next year, so they can buy themselves back up again. Denver
has shitty. They paid a shit ton of money to Russ, and he looks awful. Him and Sean Payton look like they're gonna fucking go at each other's throats. And we'll get to that game in here in a little bit too. Carolina.
That's why I would pick Denver. You know what I'm saying? They're in a bad situation. They have no draft capital. They're not going to have much, salary cap space either. So they're in a worse situation, I think, in my opinion. People need to remember too that the Giants kind of overachieved last year. You know what I'm saying? Because it was the start of a rebuild. It was Daboll's first year. It was I want to say Joe Shine is the general manager. So it was both their first years, with the team last year, and they caught some breaks, made it to the playoffs, and then played a Minnesota team that had a horseshoe up their ass that we were saying all last year. You know what I'm saying? So it seemed to fall perfectly for them last season. But this is actually a rebuilding team, so I like what they have ahead of them. Is Daniel Jones worth $40 million? No, but that's what the market is, so they got to deal with it. But I mean, you got to get some offensive linemen there, man, and try to help this kid out. But
again, what playmaker does Danny Dimes really? I mean, Darren Waller, that's it, right?
And Saquon, that's it. And Saquon.
Saquon's out,
their wide receivers are all, you know what I'm saying? Granted, I mean, they're all smaller guys, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like the same model of wide receiver. All of them are pretty similar in stature and their styles and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's why I was happy for him to get Waller, because he's a bigger dude. But again, they still have their draft picks. They still have Saquon under contract now. So we'll see what happens with them going forward. But I think Denver is in a much worse situation than they are, because they have no assets. They have no way to get better next year. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do in this offseason, because it's over. Like Tanner would say, it's fucking over for Denver.
Oh, yeah, it's over.
They're done. They're done. Bro.
And it's over for the Giants. Scott, you agree Denver the worst
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. I mean, I think Sean Payton and Russell Wilson are going to part ways at the end of this year, to be honest with you. I don't think Russell Wilson's a Sean Payton guy, even though quarterbacks.
Who's going to take that contract?
They're going to release him.
They're going to have to
release him. They're going to have to eat it. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, they have the money. Their ownership has the money.
I will admit, the first 4 weeks of the season, he did play serviceable quarterback. Today,
I mean, he didn't even play bad today.
No, well, the stats
great.
were great.
He's not played great. He's not played what they're fucking paying him. You know what I mean?
No, not at all. I agree with that.
They gave him a huge contract because they had nobody else at the time. Aaron Rodgers stayed in Green Bay. Russell Wilson was the only guy they could trade for, and then they couldn't let him go in free agency at the end because they thought they were getting the great Russell Wilson. And the
Bears dodged the bullet. The Bears dodged the bullet. He was almost to Chicago. And the Bears probably, even Craig Coger will tell you, most Bears, we dodged the bullet. And I don't know, if Russ leaves Denver, if they cut him or whatever, like 3 coaches now in 3 years have pretty much said, like, they can't win with this guy, right? Like, hey, Pete Carroll said, get him the fuck out. They blamed it on Hackett, but it doesn't look like it's just on Hackett. Now you got Sean Payton. He's saying can't fucking do it. This is a guy who would rather have Jameis fucking Winston than fucking
the stat shit is that, I mean, Russ 20 of 31, 196, 2 touchdowns. He ran the ball. Like, that offensive line in Denver is horrible as well. And their defense is garbage too. Breece Hall, ran all over them today. But yeah, Denver, I mean, even if they try to like move on from him, it's not like they have a draft pick to get another quarterback. Like, oh my God, they all kinds of messed up there, bro.
They're in trouble.
Yeah. We'll just go ahead. We'll just get into that game since we're already talking about Denver. Let me get back here because Johnny already. And then we'll get back to the Bengals Cardinals game we're getting ready to talk about. Let me get to the Broncos game. Here it is. Jets Broncos. Finish out the stats here. Zach Wilson, I mean, not bad. He did have the 1 interception, 199 yards. He doesn't throw that interception. What exact game you want from Zach Wilson? You don't do anything stupid. Keep us in the game. Breece Hall, you mentioned it, Johnny, ran all over him. 22 for 177 yards, 1 touchdown. Dalvin Cook, 6 carries, 23 yards. Scott, and you can add, if you're a Dalvin Cook owner in fantasy, it's time to bench Dalvin Cook, I believe.
Cut him. Breece Hall is the man in Jets.
He said cut his ass.
Cut him. Breece Hall's the man in New York right now.
Yeah.
Today was a perfect example. You allow the guy to get carries, you give him major work, he produces. Unless he gets injured, Dalvin Cook is not going to see the field much. So I would say goodbye to Dalvin Cook.
I know Denver's bad, but he looked like he did last year.
Oh yeah,
his vision and his cutting. I mean, like you mentioned, they took the training rules off and the bubble wrap off of him. I mean, that kid look like he gonna be special, man. I hope he stays healthy, man.
For fantasy purposes, if you remember, Josh Jacobs was a 7th or 8th round draft pick last year because of circumstances, and he produced. Breece Hall's about to do the same thing for every fantasy owner that drafted him.
Yeah, Alan gave me Breece Hall for Christian Watson in our league. Thanks, I'll take that.
Absolutely. No doubt.
I'm gonna have to check Allen's roster.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to make Allen some deals here. I'm about to go 0-5. I need to make some deals to at least get one win.
You're about to go 0-5 in our league?
I played Brian Larison killed me this week. He had the Chicago DJ Moore. And Justin Fields.
Right.
Oh yeah. Russ Wilson. I mean, Johnny, he's not throwing the ball down the field, and I don't know if it's offensive line, Russ, or whatever, but 20 or 30 for only 196 yards. Did throw 2 touchdowns. This Jameel McLaughlin, I watched a little bit of that game. He looked like he ran with some purpose. 9 carries for 68 yards. Russ ran for 7 for 49. Samaje Perine 6 for 22. Receiving wise, Jerry Jeudy had 6 for 50. Adam Trotman 4 for 26 and a touchdown. And Jameel McLaughlin caught 3 for 31. There wasn't any Jets receiver that was did anything. Garrett Wilson only 3 for 54. So you guys have any other thoughts here on this Jets Broncos game?
If I'm Sean Payton, I'm saying to Javonte Williams, hey, you might need another week with Jaleel McLaughlin the way he's playing. Hey, yeah. Javonte, you might need another week to rest before you come back. So Jaleel McLaughlin was a Sean Payton guy. Javonte wasn't. I think you're going to see a lot of the Sean Payton guys now start playing like a Marvin Mims, like a Jaleel McLaughlin, like all these guys. I think you're going to see them start to play more and more as we go on here because Denver ain't making the playoffs. So.
No, we may not. We may see a quarterback change. I mean, I mentioned it. Russ, they had a chance in that game at the end. Russ gets strip sack, fumble. Jets pick it up and score a touchdown. Game over. And, man, as Russ was coming off the field, Sean Payton was giving him an earful, and Russ just kind of kept walking past him. So they might be – I don't know who the fuck their backup is, but
Jarrett Stidham.
It might be time for Russ. Oh, well, it might be Stidham time. So it might be Jared Stidham.
I think it is. He signed Peyton signed him as the backup. Like I said, I think you're going to see these Peyton guys starting to play more and more with Denver. I think he's done with the Russes and the Javonte Williams and all those other guys. But keep in mind, Javonte Williams had an ACL injury last year, so guys are never the same. They're back. So
yeah. Well, at least your name is Breece Hall. I think Javonte Williams, I mean, he's a good player. You know what I'm saying? He may be taking a little bit more time to get back, back his stride. But as far as the Russell thing, like that's just all kinds of drama going on up there, man, with him and the coach. So good for Sean Payton. Nobody better than to have a season like this than Sean Payton.
Right. All that shit talking you were doing.
Right.
So shout out to the Jets and Nathaniel Hackett getting the W after all that shit talking. I wish Aaron would have been there because they would have ran up the score 50-0, the way the Broncos defense is. But nonetheless,
that would have been ugly, bro.
They
might have got another 70 dropped on them, bro. Yeah,
let's get into the next game here. It's Bengals. The Bengals are back, baby. The 1 week I don't fucking pick them, those bastards. They win 34-20. Joe Burrow, 30. This is Joe Burrow's best game. 36-46, 317 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Joe Mixon got going, 25 carries for 81 yards. Jamar Chase, 0 touchdowns going into the game, and then he goes for 15 for 192 yards, 3 fucking touchdowns. Well,
dog.
What happened?
Just freeze.
It just froze.
So I'll finish that line there. Jamar Chase, 15 carries, 192, 3 touchdowns. Trenton Irwin, whoever that is, had himself 8 catches for 60 yards. Joe Mixon with 4 catches as well, along with the running attack. I'm with Nick there. I picked Arizona as well. I like the fight that Arizona was showing, but Dobbs, I'll go into his stats here. 15-32, 166, 2 touchdowns and 2 bad interceptions. Who they have running the ball, because I can't even see it here. Rondell Moore ran the ball. James Conner got injured. He had 6 catches for 46 yards.
Nick's back.
Hollywood Brown, 4 catches for 61 yards and a touchdown. This was a game that Cincinnati definitely needed, especially like you mentioned earlier with Pittsburgh getting that victory over Baltimore. Cincinnati's still right in it. So hopefully that calf is straight. But Jamar Chase, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I think he is open, always fucking open. Like he said the other day when he was interviewed, 15 catches for 192 and 3 touchdowns. That was, he looked open like all the fucking time too, bro. That was
Hey, he
wild,
said he's
like,
open all the fucking time.
Yeah,
The Bengals are back, baby.
Yeah, Cincinnati put him on it. It's gonna be interesting to see if they can make a nice little run here.
Just to pre-shadow, I'm leaving a segment for Nick because I know who Nick's picking for one of the awards. So I'm leaving that for Nick. I was thinking about it. I'm leaving it for Nick. Yeah, you know, maybe the Bengals did put out the right information saying Burrow is starting to get healthier because he looked the part this week. And Jamar Chase, you knew he was going to go off. You just knew it today. After all the talk he said in the locker room, but I didn't think he'd go off that much. That was amazing. It's another 50-point burger that Jamar Chase put in fantasy this week. I mean, he's amazing. He really is amazing. It's why he's a top 3 wide receiver in the NFL. Kudos to the Bengals. They're back. As Nick said, they're back.
Yeah.
And now teams going to have to worry about them because if Burrow keeps playing this way, the Bengals could run off an 8-game winning streak here without hesitation. So.
I mean, we hope to see that, but at the same time, it was the Arizona Cardinals. So, you know what I'm saying? Let's not get too ahead of ourselves, but he did look better. Obviously, Joe Burrow, he had a great game. Jamar Chase went nuts, like you mentioned. You know, the defense actually made some plays for Cincinnati. So, if they keep Joe Burrow healthy, then they have a chance to win every game, especially with the weapons that they have. But it's going to be interesting, like I said, to see what they do these next few weeks. But it was definitely a much needed win, and not only a win, but they played well. You know, we mentioned Jamar getting all those catches, so you know they're feeling good on that flight back home. So,
no doubt, they definitely are. I mean, the Bengals, they look. That was the best they've looked. Joe Burrow looked the best. He's looked. Jamar Chase always fucking open. Well, by God, Joe Burrow must have got the message again because he was fucking always open today. Let's get into the last game here. It's Chiefs win a close one. Last year, the Vikings were 11-0 in one-score games. This year, 1-4 or 1-3, or maybe they're 1-4. I think every game they played in is a one-score game. Nonetheless, Patrick Mahomes, 281 yards, 2 touchdowns. Travis Kelce has a high ankle sprain, comes back. I was a little worried he was going to be done for a while, but 10 receptions, 67 yards, and a touchdown. Isaiah Pacheco, 16 for 55 and a touchdown. Justin Jefferson got banged up in this game. But Kirk Cousins, 29 of 47, 284 yards, 2 touchdowns. Alexander Madison, 8 carries for 26. Cam Akers, 5 for 15. Jordan Addison, 6 for 64 and a touchdown. TJ Hawkinson, 5 for 51. And as I said, Justin Jefferson only had 3 receptions as he got hurt. You guys' thoughts, Scott, here on Chiefs-Vikings?
If Kelce is out for any period of time, because they probably shot him up during the game, you know, after he went out, they're going to be in a lot of trouble here because their wide receivers just, I have no confidence that any of them can step up and perform half of the way Kelce does, or to help Mahomes be successful. So that Kelce injury is going to be a huge thing for them. Pacheco has stepped up. He's played well this season to start the season. He may have to step up even more because I think the days of Kansas City putting high 30s and 40s on teams, they're over for this year. I think they're a mid-20s team to play. Minnesota made me nervous in this game. I thought they were going to pull this game out, but the injury to Jefferson and Jordan Addison had a good game. You know, first really good game of this year. I think they have a fine in Jordan Addison. I don't know why he's playing behind KJ Osborne. Maybe that ended today. But they got to hope Justin Jefferson's not out for a period of time here. They got to hope he comes back and plays next week because if they don't have him, they have no shot.
I mean, they're done, bro. They're done. That horseshoe bin fell out their ass. Again, I mentioned the playoff game against the Giants, that loss. I mean, talk about just putting up stats, bro. I mean, Kirk Cousins, you mentioned 284, 2 touchdowns, but he doesn't make the play to like win the fucking game. Like they had a couple of opportunities there against Kansas City, and they just couldn't make the play when they needed to make the play. I know Justin Jefferson went out, you say late in the game, but they had a couple opportunities there, and he just can't come through, man. But he'll put up a bunch of stats for you and stuff like that. But when it's crunch time and you need him to make a play,
5 minutes he was shut down by the Chiefs defense.
No,
so.
the Chiefs D played well. But yeah, if Kelsey misses any kind of time, again, when you got 15 back there, I'm never gonna say that they can't. You know what I'm saying? Again, Allen threw up there. They got Denver next, so I mean, we could play with Patrick Mahomes and we'd win that game. But it's gonna be interesting. I mean, hopefully he's, if he is hurt, it's not gonna be for too long. But you could definitely see the difference in that offense when Kelsey's on the field and when he ain't.
Here's the reason why I think Kelsey does not play. That game is Thursday night.
Right. Yeah, that's a quick turnaround.
I don't know if Kelsey plays or not. If he truly has a high ankle sprain tomorrow morning, he's going to feel it because he got shot up. But they're playing on Thursday. I don't know if he plays.
Chiefs 0-1 on Thursdays, and 0, you know what I mean? 0-1 without Kelsey. So let's get to our ad read, and then we'll give out our turds and dogs of the week. So let's get it to our ad read. Here's when our community wins with us, we want to ensure you've maximized your return on investment. Line shopping for the best odds matters. And that is why any profitable sports bettor needs to be using multiple sports books. Thankfully, there has never been a better time to get signed up. And we're here to connect you with the best promotions industry-wide. Using our link, signupexpert.com/let's talk. You can access to all the sports books in your region, along with a review of each platform and unique features. Most importantly, this page automatically connects you to the top promotions of each book, allowing you to start line shopping with an enhanced bankroll. If you want to take advantage of these benefits and support our brand, please consider signing up for your next sports book at signupexpert.com/let's talk.
Nice.
All right.
So I guess there's no love for the team from the city of brotherly love. Fuck that Eagles-Rams game.
Oh, shit. I didn't get into that one, huh? I did. I would skip one. Eagles-Rams. Yeah, that game was close. The Rams hung around. Let me find the stat line here. Here it is. Eagles-Rams 23-14. The Rams were hanging around till late. Then Eagles pulled away. Jalen Hurts, 303 yards, 1 touchdown, 25 of 38. Ran for 15 carries for 72 yards in a touchdown. DeAndre Swift, 17 of 70, as he continues to lead that backfield. A.J. Brown, 6 of 127. Dallas Goedert, 8 of 117 yards, 1 touchdown. I know that makes you happy.
About time.
DeAndre Swift, 6 for 38 receptions as well. And then we get to Cooper Kupp is back, folks, by the way. Me and Scott told you to play Cooper Kupp, 8 receptions for 118 yards. Puka wasn't going nowhere either, folks. 7 receptions, 70 yards and a touchdown. Tutu Atwell, 2 for 9 and a touchdown. Matthew Stafford, 21 of 37, 220 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kyron Williams only had 13 carries, 53 yards as they were trailing most of the game. So, yeah. Any thoughts on Eagles-Rams before we get to our turds of the week?
So, at halftime, Cooper Kupp had 6 catches for 95 yards. And then he finished with 8 for 118. I don't know what happened. Philadelphia must have doubled him or whatever, but he did the second half.
Cooper, yeah.
Yeah. He first drive of the game, he was catching the ball all over the place. He had like 4 catches or something. And then all of a sudden, they just, for whatever reason, he didn't catch many more balls after that. So I don't know if he got tired. I don't know what the deal was, but he just kind of went right down the tubes afterwards. So you got to really, if you're the Rams, Sean McVay's the offensive genius, supposedly. He's got to find a way to get Kupp more involved in the second half, because that's the reason why I think the Rams lost the game, was because second half was not good.
I mean, I'm going to piggyback on that. I'm going to give props, though, to Philly, though. You know what I'm saying? They did a good job in that second half. Yeah. They kept possession of the football for about as long as possible. That Rams defense just kind of wore down there at the end. And the offensive line, in that second half, Philly was just getting so much more pressure on Matthew Stafford. So I think it was a combination of things, but Philly just kind of, they ran the ball down their throats. Again, I don't understand how it was a 7-point game. You only run the ball 14 times. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So no kind of balance at all on that LA Rams team. But props to Philly. They're doing what they got to do to win these games. It's not as dominant as they were last year, but They still have one of the best offensive lines and defensive lines, again, just like Detroit. And they just pounded on the Rams for that whole game. That defense, the Rams had no answer to stop them there towards the end.
Yeah, definitely. The Rams. I mean, I still feel like the Rams could make a playoff run make the playoffs here, maybe. But the Eagles handled business. I like this. There's a good bounce back win from the Eagles after a close game with the Commanders last week.
Yeah, no question.
All right, let's get into our turds of the week. Johnny, we'll give you the first shot. Your NFL Week 5 turd of the week.
I'm going to go right back up to Denver, Colorado, and my turd of the week is going to none other than Sean Payton. All that shit talk that he was doing this offseason, not only about coaches, but about players. He had the bullshit comment about Tua that Teddy Bridgewater would take over the starting job last year, after a few games. That didn't happen. Then he shit on Nathaniel Hackett, that he did the worst coaching job possible in Denver. Well, you know what? You're 1-4 and your team looks like shit. And you got a shit quarterback and you ain't got no draft pick. So have fun up there getting high in Mile High, bro. Sean Payton is my turd of the week, bro.
Scott, you got who's your Week 5 turd of the week?
I'm going to sound like a homer, but it's Bill Belichick and the Patriots. They haven't done any service to Mac Jones. They've done him a disservice. Play with his mind in the offseason. Basically told him, don't go outside the organization looking for any help. He hasn't drafted well, got no talent around Mac Jones. Any receiver, they brought Juju in. He's got a concussion now. He's probably out for 2 weeks based on his history. There's nothing there in New England that you can hang your hat on and say, that's where we can go. The defense is playing awful right now. They played a team in Derek Carr and the Saints who their top wide receiver had a sprained ankle. Derek Carr couldn't throw the ball past 5 yards of line of scrimmage last week, and they made Derek Carr look like he was the next coming of Aaron Rodgers today. So the Patriots and Bill Belichick are my turd of the week.
Yeah, my turd of the week goes to none other than the Baltimore Ravens. You guys had they were up, 10-3 in this game most of the game. You couldn't score more than that. And then you lose 14 unanswered points by the Steelers. Lamar Jackson throws a bad interception in the end zone that kind of seals the game by Joey Porter. They just absolutely abysmal offense that is the Baltimore Ravens. This was your typical black and blue game, but this is a game where Kenny Pickett's banged up. The Steelers are dead last in offense, and you let them come back 14 unanswered points to win 17-10. The Baltimore Ravens are my NFL Week 5 turd of the week in a game that could have separated themselves. They could have beat the Steelers and then they would have swept everybody on the road nonetheless in their division, and they couldn't do it. The Ravens are my Week 5 turd of the week.
Well deserved.
Johnny, let's go ahead. Give us your dog of the week.
All right. Well, I'm gonna leave the kid up in Cincinnati for you because I'm pretty sure you're leaning that way. So I'm gonna go with Zach Moss, running back for the Indianapolis Colts. 23 carries, 165 yards, 2 touchdowns. We talked about him earlier. I don't think he got a fair shot or a good enough opportunity with Buffalo. Thank God they let him go, and he is now in Indianapolis. I think that's gonna make a nice 1-2 tandem with him and Jonathan Taylor once Jonathan Taylor gets going. But Zach Moss is my dog of the week. Again, 23 carries, 165 yards, 2 touchdowns, helping Indianapolis beat the Tennessee Titans today and to be tied for first place in that division.
Scott,
I have code dogs of the week. Devin Achane of the Dolphins, who continually gets 8 to 12 carries every week and produces in a big way. 151 yards and a touchdown on the ground on 11 carries. This kid's for real. If he's not back in Miami, he should be. He's fast. Teams can't catch him. He just keeps going on and on. And he's going to keep going on and on as long as he gets the carries. That's number one. My second dog of the week is Dallas Goedert of the Philadelphia Eagles. Much maligned tight end through the first 4 weeks. Today, 8 catches, 17 yards and a touchdown. It shows in Philadelphia when they go someplace else besides A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, they still can move the ball and guys can still catch it. So Devin Achan and Dallas Goedert are my both dogs of the week.
You guys
I wanted to leave Nick the dog of the week for we know where he's leaning towards. So.
You guys already know who it is. My dog of the week is none other than Mr. I'm always fucking wide open, Jamar fucking Chase, because he's always wide open. And today he was wide open, 15 catches, 192 yards, not one, not two, but 3 touchdowns. Going into the game, he had 0. Well, guess what? They changed that. The Bengals are back, baby. Bodkins, Burrow, Chase, Bengals. Jamar Chase is my NFL Week 5 dog of the week because he's always fucking open. It's about time they showed up and played football.
So here's my question. Last week it was Montgomery. This week it was Chase. Who's going to score 3 touchdowns next week? Do we have a candidate in mind?
Well, I mean, we mentioned Kansas City is playing at Denver, so pick somebody from Pacheco could have 3.
Yeah,
how bad they are stopping the run.
Yeah,
Kelsey could have 3.
If Kelsey plays, he could have 3. But no, that was. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, he almost had 200 yards, bro. You know what I'm saying, Chase. So props to him. You mentioned Devon Achane. I didn't want to be a homer with Devon Achane. You could have went Tyreek Hill too. Tyreek had catches for 141 or something like that. And not for that, but Tyreek Hill is on pace for 2,236 yards. Just saying.
He's gonna get it. He's gonna get it.
Wild, bro. That's wild.
Yeah,
he is gonna get it. Tua is gonna make sure he gets 150 yards every game. I think
he's balling out.
Yeah. If you have Jalen Waddle in fantasy, I'm very sorry for you.
Yeah,
very sorry for you.
And the good thing, the good thing for a Dolphin fan is Waddle ain't complaining at all, bro. All he cares about is them winning games. So he ain't one of those, you know what I'm saying, at least not right now. He's not one of those divas that needs to get the ball every time. He just wants to win games. So he's good with his, 4 or 5 catches. He got a touchdown today, his first touchdown of the season. But he's content with them winning games. So if you got him on fantasy, I feel for you, like Scott said. But as a Dolphin fan, I'm happy to have him on the team, man.
This game right now, 49ers Cowboys, 49ers should be up by like 4 touchdowns right now. They fumbled the ball to 2. Dallas went 5-6 minutes down the field to score. San Francisco's just running up and down the field on Dallas.
And what happened to that Dallas defense? Like all that shit, they beat the hell out of the Giants, and everybody was like, "Oh, it was the greatest defense ever." It was the freaking Giants, and now they're getting tore up, bro. And the Jets, right?
Yeah.
So
and
exposed right now, man.
On a different level, you know what I mean? CMC's, Hey, I would say Tanner's over here saying Achane and Hill easily surpassed Chase today. I don't know how you can surpass 15 catches for almost 200 fucking yards and 3 touchdowns, Tanner. You can't. I mean, how do you surpass that? That's what's the record for receptions in a game is 20, I believe, or right around 20. He is 5 receptions short of fucking tying the damn NFL record for receptions in a game, and you're telling me that
if it was a closer game, Chase would have had 6 or 7 more catches, I think. So,
yeah, get out of here. Tanner's just trying to get my blood pressure. Fucking.
I was about to say and he did it, bro. It worked. Well done, Tanner.
I did pick the Bengals to lose points against the spread, and they won. So maybe I just need to continue to pick against my own pick, my initial AFC, Super Bowl champions. And just pick against them the rest of the year, and they'll continue to win. So that might be a theory. Pick against who I really want.
If Connor's out for Arizona, there's no way I pick Arizona the rest of the year. If he's gone for weeks, yeah, I can't. They don't. Josh Dobbs, Kyler's going to come back. I'm almost convinced now. Kyler.
I don't think he is. I don't think he is. I don't think they want him to come back, Scott. I think the team likes Josh Dobbs. Why not? We're playing hard.
And if you have Christian McCaffrey to score a touchdown, has he already? No, this might be the chance.
Yeah, he caught one. He just that was Kittle that caught it. They got too many white boys on the team. Can't tell who's who.
Kittle's got 2 tonight. Did he just catch a 3rd?
No, Kittle caught one earlier, and I thought it was CMC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna have fun with Allen.
The tight ends are finally making plays, man.
You're gonna have fun with Allen tonight, especially if the Cowboys get blown out here.
Actually, I'm not going to be able to be on the show tonight. I said that I got to get to work. I got to get up really early for work tomorrow, so I won't be able to stay up to do the show tonight.
Rob's
So,
gonna.
I guess I'll jump into my final thought there. Definitely check out the Sunday night post game show with Rob Logan and Alan. It's gonna be interesting what Alan has to say if the score or the game continues to go on the path that it's on right now. They just can't stop San Francisco at all, bro. It's crazy.
No.
But it's Dallas finally made some plays and made it 14-7. But yeah, no, I won't be on tonight. But definitely check out Alan and Rob Logan tonight for the show. I'll be back tomorrow night for the Aqua and Orange Insights. Let's Talk Miami Dolphins with my boy Alex. Congratulations to Alex. He became a grandfather last Monday. That's why he couldn't do the show. But he'll definitely be on, tomorrow, so we can talk about this Dolphins victory, and then of course the LTS show tomorrow night. So I'm looking forward to that. I missed last Monday, so I'm looking forward to talking to Jonathan and to Jim tomorrow night.
Yeah, my final thought's very simple. Rest in peace, Dan. We got the news on Discord today that Dan reached out to Gary from the Let's Talk 49ers show, and he told him he had hours left. So, and nobody's heard from him since basically Sunday. So, if it is the case, which it probably, rest in peace, Dan. Be comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely, bro.
Thank you very much for everything that you did for all of us. So,
man, he's watching us, bro. He's watching us.
Yeah, he is. He is.
Yeah, I will. I want to settlement that, and that's kind of how we'll end things tonight. Is Dan wrote, I think probably all three of us and a couple others some last emails, just thanking us, for everything and our friendship and relationship. And that's the kind of person Dan Harris was. He's on his last breath, and he's still telling you, propping you up, telling you he thanks you for everything that you've done for him. And nonetheless, didn't really do much for Dan Harris. All I did was answered a Twitter call once that said, "Who wants to talk sports?" And I answered that Twitter call, and that's kind of the only thing I did. But Dan always appreciated and let me come on this platform and say dumb things into a microphone. And he did more for me. He's given this great platform, this great network at Let's Talk Sports, and for the last year or so, every Christmas, every holiday, birthday, I have 7 fucking kids, and Dan sent every one of them some sort of gift. I sent my wife, when she was in the hospital, gifts. He sent me gifts, would always constantly check up on myself and my family. Every message was, "How's the family? How are you doing?" So somebody who was doing their own battles with cancer and a guy who was born already the deck stacked against him, the way he was born and things like that. And he continued to always look out for other people instead of play this, the pity party or, poor me. And he cared more about other people in this life and, saw greatness in people and believed in people and believed in this network and myself and us. And, I always tell people, be like Dan Harris, one of the most selfless people that you can come across and caring person. I never met the man face to face, but I didn't ever need to. He was a great person, and he'll always be remembered as long as we're doing this shows on this network. And, so rest easy, Dan, and we'll miss you, brother.
Absolutely. Well said,
Absolutely.
bro.
Well said.
So with that being said, we'll be back tomorrow night, 8:00 Central, 9 Eastern for the Let's Talk Sports show. We'll have Jonathan Jim on. With Jonathan, we got hockey starts Tuesday. Or with Jim, I guess we'll talk a little hockey starts Tuesday. We'll talk a little college football. Texas loses to OU. Miami Hurricanes losing a bad one. Alabama, Georgia plays their best damn game of the year against Kentucky. Lots to talk about, plus a lot of wrestling news. We had Fastlane. Cody Rhodes is tag champion. Plus Big Bill and fucking who else? Ricky Starks or AEW tag team. Who knows? This CM Punk going to WWE. who knows? So a lot to talk about with Jim tomorrow night, and then Jonathan will talk. Baseball playoffs are going on, folks. So we'll be talking a lot of playoffs. Plus, he's got some big news. I'm going to let Jonathan break the big news tomorrow. He's got big news that we're going to let him break tomorrow. So tune in tomorrow night. Catch that big news with Jonathan Grisham that he'll be breaking tomorrow, 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern. So we look forward to that. Be a friend, tell a friend, folks. Like, subscribe, share. We'll see you tomorrow night. I'm going to got to hit the outro. I about said Johnny hit the outro, but I'll hit it.
Johnny's still upset about the Florida Miami Hurricane.
Yeah, we'll see you, folks.
I don't know what you're talking about. That was a good show there, bro.
Yeah, it was a good show. The outro got cut off at the end, though.